love us, no they don't love us. They don't love us, no they don't love us. They don't love us, no they don't love us. They don't love us. Somebody tell them wake up, wake up, wake up. Somebody tell them wake up, wake up, wake up. Somebody tell them wake up.
So let's start out with that first video. 15 outrageous facts about sex farms. Now you may ask me why I'm going to this as it regards to fatal attraction. The reason I'm going to this is because I want to show you a lot of the whoremongering spirits and a lot of the things that plague our mental now. A lot of it does stem from slavery. Now, we were committing adultery and fornication and wickedness in the times of our forefathers. That's the reason the Lord put us in slavery, right? Because we was wicked as hell. But on this side, there have been things that have happened to the black man, the black woman, Hispanic man, Hispanic woman here in America, Native Indian man and woman here in America, that has contributed to our mindset today. And one of those things is sex farms, right? Through slavery. So let's play that.
Slavery is a deplorable notion. One person owning another is just not acceptable in today's world. But history bears out the ugly truth of rich, white plantation owners in Southern America owning black Americans and treating them with harsh physical punishments if they went against the owner's wishes. However, those television documentaries and references in history books seldom explore the very personal horrors faced by those who were enslaved some 2 centuries ago. Here are some instances where slaves were forced into extreme sexual behaviors and reproducing children to replenish the number of slaves solely for the benefit of their masters. Number 1. Slave women were subjected to many sexual improprieties. Among them were violations by their masters and their sons, forced matings, and arranged marriages. Number 2. Historian E. Franklin Frazier said stockmen were weighed and tested before being put into a room with young women to mate for the purpose of bearing children. Number 3. By the end of the 18th century, the breeding of slaves was a common practice. Laws were changed so the public could view slaves as things instead of people. So the owner could do.
So these brothers would be weighed, right? They would be weighed before they would go into the shack or whatever, or would go into the breeding house, whatever they called it. I know they called it breeding farms, but they had like actual beds for them, shacks for them to go and do the breeding. So it said they would try to get a brother's height, his weight. Don't that sound like the NFL or the NBA draft today? Where they want to know what kind of prototype you are. They checking your body fat and stuff. They treat you like animals. The same thing today, to see if you can produce. So this is what the men were measured by. They would have them have sex with certain women, arrange marriages with them, and force them to do these things. Now, they didn't take into consideration these men would do what? Get HIV, or which may not have been around at that time, but there was something that was close to it, venereal, like some type of venereal disease or something at that time, any other sexually transmitted disease. They weren't worried about the bodies of the people that were going through this, right? It just said something. Go back 10 seconds. It said something that caught my ear, but it slipped my mind just to say, yeah, right there.
Practice. Laws were changed so the public could view slaves as things instead of people.
That's it.
So
they passed laws and they put out newspapers and things of that nature showing us in a negative light so people wouldn't think of us as people. So when Edomites would do these things to us, they would say, well, come on, they're slaves. You can pretty much do what you want to do with a slave. They're not human. You understand? You can do what you want to do with them. Go ahead, one of y'all.
Hey, I was just going to say, and you got to think about it just like today. Some of us breed animals like dogs and everything. So we was just like that. How you know, our people like to use a pit bull, right? They, you know, observe the pit bull. What's the bloodline and everything? Guess what? And he's like, you know what? I got a female right over here. Let's breed them together. It's the same way. The same thing they was doing back then. The same, you know, that's how they do the animals today. So no difference.
So basically, what you're saying, the pit bull don't have no choice.
Right.
He just got to do what you, his master, say do.
Right.
Damn.
Hey, that's crazy. I feel say the same thing, officer. It's crazy how they like when he used the word mate. You know what I'm saying? They relegated us to like beasts, like brute beasts. Literally, it made me think of Ecclesiastes 3:18.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get that?
That's right.
Because no longer are you in this particular situation. No longer are you human anymore. That means that's taking all the human or humanity from you at that point. Now you an animal. Now we kind of see why the black woman is an ostrich now. She ain't no person no more.
Yep.
She ain't no daughter of Sarah no more. She a whole animal. Same way with the men. We animals. We act off instinct, off emotion. Yep. All these different things because of the things that have been done to us. But watch what the Bible say.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3 and verse 18. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men.
This is our estate. This is what we've been relegated to, right? Read.
That God might manifest them. And that they might see that they themselves are beasts.
This is what we've become here in this captivity through all these things that have happened to us. All this chattel slavery, sex farms, all these different things. And now we're just living in the after effects.
Hey, so, wow. So that's heavy. So when you think about a beast, he'll have sex with anything. He'll eat anything. And anytime a spirit of anger comes upon him, he'll just, whatever's in his way, he'll devour it. He'll kill it. That's the mindset of some of these young men that are out here today. That's the mindset of some of our sisters today. They don't care what's in their path. They're going to destroy it. And that's the spirit of, or that's the attributes of a beast, like what you're bringing out. So that's very, very heavy. And guess what? We were trained to be that way. We were taught to be that way. We were put out in the media to be that way. We were shown as being that way. And that's why many of us struggle today with that mindset. Go back. Go back to the video. Let it keep playing.
The owner could do with them as he wished. Slave owners even began believing that slavery was grounded in the Bible. Number 4. American slaves in 1860 were worth $4 billion, which was far more than the $228 million worth of gold and silver circulating back then. Even the value of southern farmland, $1.92 billion, did not amount to the worth of the slaves. So for the owners, their slaves were worth everything to them.
My ancestors and yours was big business. We were worth $4 billion to the slave master. Now you see why they fought their own brother, because Esau is brothers. That's why they fought their own brother, killed their own brother, to try to keep that lifestyle of slavery alive here in the South. The devil the Bible speak of, man.
The devil.
To keep your sons and your daughters and my sons and my daughters, our family, in slavery, to keep their agenda alive, to keep their money alive, right? Give me that real quick in Zechariah 11 and 5. Zechariah chapter 11, verse 5. Watch this.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 11 and verse 5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
It said whose possessors or oppressors or slave master. It said whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. Why? Because you were property. You were valuable property. And if they saw you as not being valuable anymore, your ankle broke, or you got a crook in your back, you can never work in the field again, or you're missing fingers because you tried to run away, so they cut your fingers off so you can't pick that cotton like you used to, they will kill you. And then they will say, what? I do wrong. That's my property. I can do what I want to do to him. I can kill him if I want to. I can hang him if I want to. I can rape his wife if I want to. Go ahead.
And they that sell them say, Blessed be the Lord.
And when they sold us, they said, blessed be the Lord. I done got another possession. Look at this bed which I got. Don't you look good? Look at this big old buck, and they hit you on your back real hard. I remember one of my basketball coaches used to do that crap when I was in college at Mississippi State. He used to do that. He used to hit you on your back so hard, and I always felt like he was petting me. Like he'd say, good job, and he'll pow, pow, but he'll hit you real hard. And I always felt like he trying to, like, get me to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bend to his will. I hated that dude. I really did. I had hatred for him. Like, I did not like him. When I left, transferred from that school, I never wanted to speak of him. I didn't want to talk to him. I didn't want nobody to say nothing to me about him because the things that he used to do to try to demean me and my teammates, I hated it. Real slave master. Really what we just saw on that TV right there. You understand? And I always used to feel like he was beating me, like he was doing that to keep me in check. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they used to do to us. It said, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. Y'all my slaves. I make money off y'all. Y'all gonna do what I say. Go ahead.
And their own shepherds pity them not.
And your family can't vouch for you. Because who would the slave master often use as his guinea pig or use as his overseer? He would use a black man. One dude that been on the plantation for a while that he saw loved him and would do whatever he wanted and would force the other slaves to fall in submission that had some type of influence. That's what your Jesse Jacksons are today. That's what your athletes are today. They're nothing more but the step and fetch it. The overseer for the so-called white man to make sure all us dumb Negroes stay in check. That's what they are. And the slave master is doing the same thing to us today that he was doing to us at that time. What was he doing to us at that time? Breeding farms. We were his property. He did what he wanted to do with us. Go ahead, also, Xander.
I was just gonna say, what's the guy name from Life? What is Billy Bob or something? What's his name?
No, not Billy Bob.
From
What
Life.
you talking about? Shame on you. I
From
told
Life.
you, man, ain't never seen Life.
The
bro.
show with the hat.
I know you
That was
talking
over the
about. I know you
slaves.
talking about. Yeah. I know you talking about Hoppin' Bob.
Right, Hoppin' Bob.
Hoppin'
That's
Bob.
him.
That was his name. Yeah.
Right,
The man said Billy Bob Thornton.
But yeah, that's an example of what you speaking on.
Yep.
Because he was dark as night, but he telling another slave, I slapped the black off your behind.
Yeah.
Like,
I ain't nice like boss.
Right.
That's what he said. That showed what he said. Go back to the video real quick.
Number 5. The mortality rate among slaves was very high, so their owners would often encourage or force them to have children. Even at the age of 13, females were expected to begin having children to replenish the slave stock.
Man, hold on. I'm sorry. Stop there, y'all. Come on. Now we see the young sister today. If her friends already having sex and she ain't had sex yet, she feel ashamed. But back in the day, if you had sex too early and you weren't married, you were supposed to be ashamed. Now our young daughters, because do you think this translates till today? Because back then they forced you to do it. Now they don't force you to do it. They just put it in the media. They put it on social media. They put it in the music. They put it in the entertainers that you look up to that your daughters are rapping and singing about. And now your daughter get pregnant at what? 13. Same thing. And between did you hear what it said? Between 13 and 20, she had to have 4 to 5 kids. Go back to it. Go back 10 seconds. Right there.
Children. Even at the age of 13, females were expected to begin having children to replenish the slave stock. They were expected to have 4 or 5 children by the age of 20. They were often encouraged by their owners to do this with the promise of freedom.
You hear that? With a promise of freedom. I'll make you free if you have 4 or 5 kids for me over the next 7 years. Get your L3 in verse 3. Just have 4 or 5 kids for me. Then after you had them 4 or 5 kids and they take them from you, because that's what they did. When them kids was born, they weren't yours. Your kids was property while they were in your belly. This is some real stuff we reading about. Go ahead.
The book of Joel, chapter 3 and verse 3.
Uh-huh.
And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot.
They gave a boy for a harlot, meaning what? Breeding farms. This brother was built up to be a breeder, to have sex with multiple slave women, It bring forth bigger, stronger breeded, bigger, stronger children. Especially if they got one like a big, strong. You know how you see the movie was like a big, strong dude? They made sure that he had sex with multiple slaves. And so he can bring, I remember it was a rumor going around, I was younger, it was a while back, about LeBron James. What if he and Serena Williams had a child? You remember that? Yeah, I remember that. And people used to talk about that, man, if LeBron and Serena Williams had a baby, man, that thing gonna be a super athlete. And I said, damn. Even back then, I knew something was wrong with that idea that love don't matter, that being in a relationship and getting to know somebody doesn't matter. Let's just put them together so they can make a bigger, stronger them. That's the mind of a slave. That's the mind of an oppressor. That's the mind of a slave master. And they will breed our young men. Read it again.
And they have cast lots for my people.
Cast lots for my people.
And have given a boy for a harlot.
And they gave a boy for a harlot. And what else?
And sold a girl for wine.
And they sold a girl for wine. So when the slave master's friend would come over, give me the next video. I'm gonna watch it. Give me this next video real quick. It says, I've just posted it. It was an Edomite said. It was an Edomite that said, a white man's sexual playground. It says slavery, a white man's sexual playground. And I want you to finish this scripture while they pulling it up. Finish the scripture for me. Read it again from the top.
And Joel 3 verse 3. And they have cast lots for my people.
Uh-huh.
And have given a boy for a harlot.
Read.
And sold a girl for wine.
Read.
That they might drink.
That they might drink. Now watch this video. Play that.
You also write about, and this is unpleasant stuff to get into, but you write more explicitly, I think, than most accounts of slavery have been about the sexual exploitation of women. Now, when I was a kid, and you go on a tour of an antebellum house somewhere in the Mississippi Valley, there'd usually be no reference to physical relations between the owners or white people and the slaves, but sometimes the tour guide would cast off some playful reference to the part of the plantation where sometimes the young men of the plantation or the sons of the owner, sometimes they would end up down in the quarters, and that's how a light-skinned baby would come to pass. And there was something kind of humorous about it, and it was this modest little thing that had to do with when young men got too drunk and went to excess on a Saturday night. You quote someone, rape, the rape of a particular black woman after she's been purchased, as is the common practice. You say slavery's frontier was a white man's sexual playground.
Damn.
Yeah, those are strong statements, but I also think that they're true. I was certainly surprised when I started to discover in the papers of Rice Ballard, who starts off as one of the country's great slave traders and eventually becomes one of the country's great plantation owners by the 1850s. The operations he owns are producing 10,000 bales of cotton a year. I was surprised to discover the great degree of frankness with which he and his business partners wrote about enslaved women, and particularly the light-skinned ones who were sold as a kind of symbol of sexual prowess, if you will.
Pause it. Female slaves called fancy maids were sold at auction into prostitution, termed the fancy trade. So they was making, because remember we was worth $4 billion. So if we was worth $4 billion, remember the worth of an asset does not fully show you the amount of money somebody's making off of it. It just shows how much it's worth. But when it's a common, like for instance, you may have a house. The house may be worth $30,000, but you rent it for $1,000 a month. 4 years, you made $48,000. So yeah, it's still worth 30, but you done made more money than what it's actually worth. So when the slave master was doing these things to us, even though we were an asset to them, he was still making residual income off of us by his cotton that he was being able to produce by us. Remember, it said that slave master in particular, 10,000 bales of cotton a year. So when they would have our wives and our daughters and our children, they was raising these sisters up to be fancy maids, which is prostitution, forcing our women to be whores. Now, the people that were doing this were Christian. They were Christian.
Bring it out.
And the Bible tells clearly that a woman is not supposed to be a whore. Not supposed to perform whorish acts. But you know what? We weren't humans to them. We were property to them. Give me Nehemiah 9:37. You had something also, Hosanna? Go ahead.
Now, I just was going to say, during all this chaos, where was the so-called white woman? Where was she at?
Yep.
I thought the so-called black man was oppressing the black woman, doing all these horrible things to the black woman.
Damn. Sheen. Hey, you know what's heavy about what you just said? She hated the black woman because she knew secretly her husband was in love with the black woman. Because a lot of those slave masters, once they had sex with our sisters for the first time, and they you know, our sisters, they look better than everybody, bro. Let's just keep it 100.
That's
our women
right.
look better than all women on the planet Earth. So once they had a piece of our woman, they knew that they couldn't be with her because their family members and their constituents wouldn't deal with them if they had a black wife. So they would secretly have relationships with our women behind closed doors. And the black woman, especially the light-skinned ones, would start to get certain privileges around the plantation because of it. You see that in the movie, the show, The Underground. You seen The Underground? Yeah. Remember that? The light-skinned mother, she was the head maid. She was having sex with the slave master. She was controlling stuff. She was stopping slaves from being hung, all kind of stuff, because she was having sex with him so she could influence him. And the slave master's wife hated her. Hated her with a passion. Why? Because she knew that her husband was secretly in love with her and was having sex with her behind closed doors. He would meet her in the wine cellar and have sex with her. And she would manipulate him into doing certain things for her. That's true. That's a true thing. You understand? Read that scripture.
The book of Nehemiah, chapter 9 and verse 37. And it yieldeth much increase unto the kings,
Read.
whom thou hast set over us, because of our sins.
Because of our sins.
Also, they have dominion over our bodies and over our cattle at their pleasure, and we are in great distress.
So what you gonna do if they bust in the house and say, let me have your wife? What were you gonna do? Deuteronomy 28:30. What you gonna do? What could you have done? You could fight. Yeah, you can fight back. But you gonna die. And they weren't gonna just kill you right there on the spot. They was gonna hit you over the head with something, and when you came to, they was gonna make sure they made a public example out of you. I don't know if you saw that show, The Underground, was it The Underground Railroad? Is that the name of it? The last show that came out. I thought it was The Underground Railroad. No, not that one. That's The Underground. The Underground Railroad is what it's called, right? Remember the very first slave master, the very first episode when he had the brother hanging up there and he had him burned alive? You remember that? And remember, he called all the slaves down to watch it. And remember, him and his wife started dancing. They was having a party. And they made him a public example. So yeah, you can fight them back. You can fight for your wife and your kids. You can say, no, you can't have my wife tonight. But then what they do? They embarrass you in front of your children, they embarrass you in front of your wife, and they killed you in front of them to make them be terrified. Now in today, 2021, they don't have to do that type of public humiliation no more. All they got to do is put it on social media, and they know that now controls your brain, controls the brain of your children, controls the brain of the young women and the young men today. They know what they're doing. Read that scripture. You had something after that?
Yeah, I was going to bring out that in that same movie, they had the brother who didn't want to lay down with a sister.
Yeah.
He was forced to do so.
Yes.
He told him to go up in there and do it. If he didn't do it, he was going to kill him.
Yep.
Yeah, the same movie.
You better do it, or you're going to die. Watch this.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 30.
Now you might say, well, I thought the name of the lesson today or the name of the class today was fatal attraction, adultery, money, hatred, and greed. What does this have to do with it? We're going to show you. It has everything to do with it.
That's right.
A lot of the spirits that are invoked in us, of course, are off the things that we see and the things that we have been ridiculed to. But the reason they know that works is because our ancestors were the prototype. Our ancestor was the prototype through slavery that now they can put it on social media, they can put it in television, and we'll follow the same things today and not realize the same tactics are being played on us. His oppression tactics have evolved. Foundationally, they're the same, but they've evolved in how he pushes it. Watch this, read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So you'll betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. What is that talking about? The slave master. The slave master would lay with your wife. He would come in, and he would force you to give her to you. He would take your child from you, and force her to be on a breeding farm, and force her to bring forth children. That's what he would do. He would take your son from you and do the same thing. He had dominion over your child's body, over your wife's body, over your body even. They was raping the men too. They were raping the men. All to do what? To break our spirit. Because that breaks a man's spirit. If you do that to a man, if you rape a man, another man raping a man breaks his spirit. That's why in prison they do that to brothers, to break their spirit. Now he wearing lipstick, he wearing makeup, he got his hand in your pocket as you walk around, letting everybody know that's my B right there. And it's the biggest, strongest thug you'll see out on the street. But you take him in there, he becomes somebody B. You can't make this up, bro. This stuff real. This is real. This is psychological warfare. Go ahead.
Hey, Cap, you remember them? I don't know if you ever see, I hate I keep quoting movies, but you remember the movie Lockdown?
Yes, I think I seen that, yes.
The toughest thug, well, so-called thug of the group, when he went to jail and that dude raped him, that Edomite raped him,
yeah,
he turned it to
his B.
Right, his B. And he ended up killing him at the end. But the point is, they broke his spirit.
It broke his spirit.
Right.
He was done after that. Go to Zechariah 1:15, 1:14-15.
The book
Zechariah
of Zechariah.
1:14.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 1 and verse 14. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy.
So God is jealous over us. The thing that have been done to us, the Most High God, he gonna make sure that the people that did it to us get recompense for it. Go ahead.
And I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are at ease.
He said he's displeased with the heathen that are at ease. Go ahead.
For I was but a little displeased, and they have helped forward the affliction.
God was already angry with us, but he said he was a little displeased. But they have now forwarded the affliction, meaning they did even more to us than God gave them license to do. They took it further. And now, in our spirit, subconsciously in our spirit, we still destroyed from that type of thing, those type of things that happened through slavery that was once forced on us. Now they control our mind. Like you said, what you say in that song, controlling your mind, Magneto? They control your mind just like Magneto. You understand? Now watch this. Give me Isaiah 29:13. You had something? Go ahead. You can bring it out.
I was just finna say, like, this is real heavy what you bringing out, Cap, and like the people finna see this go straight into how we are at this point in time. Our minds is jacked up. That's why we have these fatal attractions from this innate, like, I don't know, beast that's in us. Yes. Like we got that whoremongering spirit in us, but then you start to doing that and you think a relationship don't matter. You think your connection with a person don't matter. Then you get with these people and then somebody go crazy. Now they putting chocolate in your tank. Now they trying to kill you because that's not natural. Our spirit ain't wired for that.
And then your family member's like, I don't know what came over her. I never thought she'd do such a thing. I don't know what happened to him. I never thought that he would kill his wife. And then you pull back the curtain, you say, yeah, he always had a history of violence. She was always a demon. And would manipulate men and force them to do what she wanted. And this brother snapped. You understand? This all goes along with this, brothers and sisters. Isaiah 29:13. Let me show you. Let me show you how it equates to today. Go ahead.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, For as much as this people draw near me with their mouth, and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their heart far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the precept of men.
You hear that? Our fear towards God is taught by the precept of men. Meaning the way that we fear the Lord, it comes from the way man taught us to fear the Lord. So when we get into relationships now, we're not looking for that godly woman, that godly man. We're not looking to prove them according to the scriptures like the Bible say. We're not looking to do that. We're looking to just jump on the finest one. The sister that everybody want, that's the one we want. The brother everybody want, that's who the women want. You understand? Instead of actually proving a person and looking beyond their looks and their beauty and their outward appearance and really looking on the heart to see if their mind is right with God. We're not doing that because we ain't been taught those things. We ain't been taught to look for those things as attributes.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.